Hi guys, Miss Elyse here, and we are going to start our next art lesson. So the materials you will need is watercolor, brushes, a cup of water, paper towels, color pencil, pencil and eraser, drawing paper. Today we're going to do a forest drawing, and with that we're going to remember something that Miss Elyse talks about often with her students is we want to do simple shapes. So in fact, this drawing was done by first using my hand. See, if I put my hand down, you can kind of see where my trees come from, okay? And then there's another art element that we want to focus on, which is value. And if you remember, value is light to dark or dark to light within a artwork. So we can kind of look at my drawing and we can find some dark values, some medium values, not too dark, not too light, and then we can find some light values. And this is really important when we're drawing because it creates this illusion or the appearance of it coming forward and looking more 3D and more realistic, which is kind of what we're wanting to work on today. Now, very common, even moms and dads do this, or grown-ups do this, is they'll say, wow, this artwork's beautiful. It has a lot of different shades. But they're actually using that wrong in that word. They're actually using that word incorrectly because I've got some lime green in here, and that actually does not have any black in it. It has more white or yellow, which are lighter colors, which is really what's called a tint. So tint is when you add white or you add a lighter color to a color to make it lighter. So my lime green wasn't light enough in this area, so I added yellow to it. So I have a tint, not a shade. Shade is, it's really when you add black or a darker color. That is shade. So with my darker greens, I actually added a blue green to my regular green to make it appear darker. And I even added black to the trunk areas to create another darker shade on my tree. I said that we're going to use watercolor and color pencils. Undercolor is going to be, or what we call underpainting, is going to be used with watercolor. So you can kind of see I've used some color pencil in this particular tree on top of my watercolor. Media, or the plural version, is called medium. And what that means is with watercolor, that is the material that we're using, but in the art world we call it a media. So one of the mediums that we are using is watercolor. Another media that we're using is color pencil. So this artwork is actually what's called mixed media because we're using more than one material or media to make this artwork. All right, let's get started. So like I said before, I use my hand to start this lesson. So I'm going to put my hand and I want to spread my hands out, okay? Because we're going to trace. Now draw lightly because I can already tell you with my wedding ring that's going to mess up my tree. So draw lightly. You may have to correct things. So I'm going to start over here and I'm going to trace my hand. So you can already tell my wedding band kind of messed it up. That's okay. We're just going to erase it and then smooth it out. So if you make a boo-boo or something crazy happens, don't worry about it. Just erase it and fix it. Now, one thing you'll notice in this artwork too is you have a different type of perspective when you're looking at this, okay? So we've talked about a bird's eye view before when we did our snowman. This is kind of as if we're the ant, so we're down into the ground and looking up at the trees, okay? And you can kind of see my little mouse is in the tree as well. So it's a different perspective, okay? It's not like we're looking straight ahead at the forest. We're kind of looking up at the forest. So to do that, we're kind of going to draw triangles at the top of all of our fingers. Again, do it a little light because you may need to adjust things as we go, okay? So now it looks like you're about to claw something, okay? But we're gonna actually turn these into trees, believe it or not, okay? So the first thing, once we do that, we're gonna start right about here in between your pointer and your thumb. If you're right-handed, you may be opposite than me if you're left-handed, but that's okay. But you just wanna kind of come in there and we're gonna curve this line out just slightly past and then drop below your thumb and try not to pull too, that's harder. Try to pull away so you get this nice round line like so. Now we're going to work on the rest of our tree, okay? So I've already kind of started this triangle at the top. I'm just going to extend it a little bit like this. Kind of come back in so you're making some more triangular shapes on the side. And you can stop wherever you want because remember this finger is your trunk. And then you're going to do the same sort of thing this way. And then this last one can kind of just hang. And you just repeat that. And then you don't really need to do anything here because it's like an overlap. You want to send this tree in front and this tree to the back. So just leave this how it is. And then this one, just be careful. I know sometimes we want to get all these kind of cloud, bushy things. Just be careful because trees are not geometric. They're organic. So they're not going to have a whole lot of bunch of bumps when you go to do it. They need to be a little bit elongated. So just kind of elongate your bumps when you go around. And then I'm going to do my thumb very similar to this tree. I'm going to elongate my curves. I did a hole in this one for my mouse. I'm thinking I might do my middle one this time. It doesn't matter how you do it, whether you do it on this tree, or this tree. Either one. You're the artist. You decide. But this time I think I want to do it on my middle finger. So all I need to do is, because this is going to kind of, this trunk's going to come down. This is a landscape line here. So I'm just going to kind of bring my trunk down. And then I'm just going to do a nice round in shape for my little mouse. Okay. Now again, this is going to change a little bit. So this is like a profile of my mouse. This is going to probably be more straight on. Okay. So if I'm doing the profile, if you want to do the mouse like I did last time, and I've got my circle in here, okay? And then I want to, he's coming out. So there's like a curve and a curve here like this. And then we're going to do a little triangle for his little nose. And you're going to curve off his nose right there. You're going to need to give him an ear. Let me lower this down for you a bit. And then he needs another little ear over here. And his eye. Okay. And then he has a little bit of a paw that's going to come out. Okay. So you're going to want to erase that little line so his paw can come out there. He's got his little paw. And he's going to have some whiskers like that. Okay. So that's like a side profile of a mouse. If we're doing straight on, okay, this is going to be a little bit. So the first thing we want to do is kind of do like an oval shape to get a general idea of what our mouse shape should be, the whole body. Okay. Then I'm going to start working on his head. So I'm going to have to come right about here because this has got to be part of his back of his body because he's laying down. And then come right here and kind of make my V and kind of curve and connect for his head. Okay. I'm going to erase some of this line that's in the middle that's going through. Okay, and then I've got his little nose right there. Okay, Then I'm going to add his little eyes. And he's got his whiskers. And then he needs some ears, so I'm going to give him his ears. And then here, you're going to kind of see his fingers. When you do the profile, you don't really see his fingers. It just looks like a paw. So for his fingers, I really did, as you can see kind of my sketch over here, I'm really just looping around for his fingers like that. Okay? Then I'm going to repeat that same sort of thing on this side. I'm going to do his little fingers. So I'm going to bring it in a little bit and then connect to the rest of his body. And I'm going to probably bring this down a little bit further. It's probably too far up. Bring this way. There we go. And you can kind of see his body going into the tunnel right there. Now it's going to still, his body's going to look a little funny, but you have to keep in mind you're going to be adding some value here, so won't look as funny with his body, okay? So here is our general sketch to start with. Now we're going to go to our watercolor. So with my watercolor, I'm just going to do my light values because I'm going to add my medium and dark values with my colored pencils on top after the watercolor is dry. So I have several gray and several brown. So how you do it is up to you. But I'm going to start with my brown trunks first. I'm going to use a light brown, not a dark brown. And this line that's here, that starts my triangle, we can go ahead and erase those because you want it to go up to the point. And then we can kind of fill those in. So I filled in both of my brown trunks. Now these other ones on my watercolor set, I have different types of gray. If you don't have different types of gray, you can add like a brown and gray together to get kind of a tan. Or you can do black and white. Or if you don't have white, you just need to do more water so that it'll be light black instead of a dark black. Okay? Okay, so once you have your trunks sorted, and again, notice that I did all light values. So we didn't go too much of the pigment. We added a little bit more water, but we're not drowning our paper. Okay, so we've got all light values here. Now we're going to do our bush part, which is going to have our leaves. And again, you want to kind of vary those colors so they're not all green. So I might do some lime green here and then like a blue green and just kind of change it up and alternate so that there's some diversity. So I'm going to start with like a lime green. Okay, once you have your trunk and all of your bushes and leaves kind of filled in, now we're going to work on some of this landscape. So we want to vary our landscape so things can be moved forward and backwards to create the illusion or the appearance of space. So I'm going to make this back here lighter. I'm going to do like a yellow orange, like yellowy orange, kind of a mustard. And then below that, I'm going to have this kind of be lime green. And my lime green's not light enough. I want it more yellowy, so I'm going to add some yellow to my lime green to get it even more lime green. There we go. So we're going to go to our detailed brush because we need to get this brown back here, this dark area filled in. I think I might do like a dark brown but I still want to stay light, so just be careful when you go in there with your dark brown. And careful, I'm going to paint around my mouse because I want to use watercolor to fill my mouse in. So now we're ready to go to our color pencil. And if you didn't use too much water, it should be dry and ready for you to draw on it. What I would do is, if you're not sure, start with the first thing that you watercolored and then go to. So I started with this tree, so I'm going to start with this tree. And it's really up to you. Just think about your values. You've already got your light. You could add more to your light. Like if I wanted to make this a little bit lighter, I could add yellow to it. And then your dark and your medium values. So I've kind of got like this turquoisey green. Kind of want to make that into add to my tree. So I'm going to outline my pencil marks with it to get rid of those. And I'm kind of shading it in, but I'm not covering up my light value that I made. I might add a little bit of lime green to my lime green so it'll blend a little better. So I'm just kind of adding two. I like that. And then I think I'll work on my trunk a little bit. See if I've got like a brown that I might just kind of lightly shade, but not get rid of my gray. Just kind of adding, that gray is lighter than what I'm coloring, so that kind of serves as my light value. And this brown is just kind of adding a medium to it. And then I can go back with a black or a dark brown to add some bark texture lines. I think I'll do this dark brown. And like your textured lines are just, you know, short lines to create that bark texture of a tree. And then you carry on to your next tree and do that all the way across. Just wait until we get to your mouse. Don't do anything with your mouse yet. So with most of the kind of more triangular trees, you're not really adding branches to it, but for your more kind of cloud-like trees, we want to add a little bit of organic lines to them to create your branches. So for example, I've gotten like a medium brown, not too dark, not too light, and I'm going to kind of start to draw where my branches may be. Now keep this in mind. If it's coming and it's attached to the tree, you want that part of your branch to be fatter. And then as it goes further out, kind of further away from you, you want that to be smaller and thinner. And then sometimes they're not on the front, they could be back here in the back. So you're just kind of attaching it from behind. And then again, that's only a medium value. So you may find when you go to do your trunk that you need to add a little bit of black so that they pop out and there's a little bit more of a contrast there. So like I said, with this one, you can see I've gone in with my black with a darker value, and I'll even probably add more texture with my black with my black color pencil. But before I do that, I want to add a little bit more to my branches. This doesn't mean color over your brown. What this means is you're kind of drawing the lines with the brown. So I'm going over it, but it's just adding another value with the brown that's already there. So remember that you can use different types of lines to create texture. So I pretty much have done kind of a dot drag kind of through here. I've done long lines and short lines. And on this time, I'm kind of doing like a zigzag. I already kind of went with a lighter value, and I'm adding to my zigzag lines that I've already created. Now we're going to do our mouse, okay? So he is inside of a tree, so you're going to have some dark values, shades, that are going to go around our mouse, okay? So you're going to need probably a black and a dark brown to start with. Start with your dark brown, and then we can go over the dark brown with our black. So I'm going to carefully kind of go around him, taking my time. And then I'm going to grab my black, and I'm going to highlight where his hole is. Oops. By really defining it with the black. Now, when light's coming in, the closer you get to that mouse, because he's sticking out a little bit, it's going to be lighter. So really, you just want this black to kind of come and then fade as it gets to the mouse. So you can apply more pressure away from the mouse, but as you get closer, lighten your pressure a little bit, and that'll create that illusion or the appearance of a hole. So you can, I'm going to go more realistic with my mouse colors, but if you want to have a purple mouse or if you want to go more abstract, go for it. I'm going to scoot my camera down so you can see. It didn't show up too well. Let me find another pink. He'll have some brown eyes. And then I'll probably have to get some of my black to outline like his face a little bit and his ears, because he's going to be probably brown and I don't want to lose him. But I'm going to do a little bit of like, he's like a red brown. So when I go to do my brown, I'll probably add a little bit of like some warm colors like orange or like a red orange with it. So I'm going to lightly color this brown. And then I'm going to come in with some red orange. Maybe even like a yellow orange. So he's got a little bit of variety there. There we go. And then I can take my black and go over his whiskers. So he's got his whiskers. And he's all sorted, my little mouse. Okay? So now all we have left is the landscape. And that's really up to you how you want to create those colors. I did kind of like an orange back through here to kind of separate and give it some variety. But I can like lightly color this in with some, I could go back over it with some yellow. Then I can do some green. Maybe like a dark green over here. And maybe lightly come down from that. Switch to like a medium green. I don't want to get rid of my lime green that I've got going on, but I'm just adding some other values to my lime green that's underneath that I did with my watercolor. Go back with some lime green. And then I'm going to add some tall grass. I think on my original one, I only did it on the right side. I think I might do it on both sides just to get it more balanced, something different. But again, I'm thinking about my values, dark, medium, light, so that when I start, I can kind of draw them with my dark. Maybe go back over it. And go over it with my medium. Now I'm going to color in with my line. And there we go. We've got our little forest drawing. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye!